Welcome back to the channel. This is Trendy Storm and you are watching second part of What If Naruko Was Blessed by the Lady of the Lake. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
When Team 7 got to the coast, a thick fog had already settled in. Tazuna led them to a man who was willing to let them cross, and now the 6 of them are in a motorboat to cross the water and go to Nami no Kuni. The motor was off, though, and the boatman was rowing so as not to draw attention to their group from anyone who might want to hurt them. Naruko, who was at the front of the boat, was looking into the thick fog. Something is strange about this fog. He was thinking in his head. Even for early morning fog, it seems pretty thick. There's a lot of fog. Naruko said something out loud and wondered what the other people thought. Yeah, it's hard to even figure out where we're going. Naruko was right, Sakura said, agreeing with her. I mean, I can't even see anything but water. She looked over the side of the boat into the water, which was moving around. The boatman said in a quiet voice, "We'll soon be able to see the bridge. As soon as you step onto the other side, you'll be in Nami no Kuni." As if the fog moved because he spoke, it moved away from where they were going to show the bridge. As its shadow loomed over them, the group looked up. Even from where they were standing, the group of genin could see that the large unfinished bridge was a sight. Naruko whistled. "Okay, Tazuna-san, I have to say I'm impressed." Tazuna said, "Thank you," with pride in his voice. The man hissed, "You guys need to be quiet. Moving through the thick morning fog is the only way to keep from being seen. But if they hear us, it won't help. How come you think we're going this way? Taking the motor out of the boat and rowing?" Naruko frowned and looked at the boatman. "Like Gato?" she asked. "Tazuna-san, can you give us a bit more detail on Gato?" Kakashi asked. Tazuna gave a slight nod. Gato seems to be nothing more than a normal businessman at first glance. Despite this, the man is one of the most powerful people in the criminal underworld. He is known for ruining countries and starting hostile takeovers of other businesses by using gangs and hiring ninjas. He uses his business as a front to buy and sell drugs and other illegal things on the black market. He sounds like a bit of a jerk. Naruko said something. Tazuna told Kakashi, he came to Nami no Kuni a little more than a year ago. He ignored Naruko's comment as he told Kakashi more. He used his money and power to get into our country, and before we knew what was going on, he had taken over all of our shipping and transportation. That makes sense. Naruko mumbled, which got everyone's attention. Nami is really just a collection of islands. Aside from their shipping routes, they have no other way to trade and get goods. By taking charge of that, Gato has control over almost everything. The Gaki knows what's up. Tazuna said this with a very small nod. On an island country, the person who controls the sea controls everything, from the economy to the government and even our lives. Anyone who tries to stand up to him goes away. But even Gato has fears, and the bridge is the thing he is most afraid of. Which is why Gato is after you, of course. Naruko said with a nod. Once the bridge is finished, it will connect Nami to the mainland, so you won't need ships to get supplies. Gato wants to kill you because you are the best bridge builder and you are in his way. But this does raise a question. Kakashi said as he looked at Tazuna pointedly. Why did you lie about the mission if you knew this was going to happen and that Gato was dangerous? That seems pretty clear, doesn't it? Naruko asked without meaning to. If Gato has been in Nami for more than a year, he has had a year to put a tight hold on all imports. And if he's even half as corrupt as Tazuna says, he's probably put ridiculously high taxes on everything. I don't think this country has enough to even do a B-level mission. Am I right, Tazuna-san? Asked Naruko, turning to look over at Tazuna. Came out on top. Tazuna said. Our country has never been a big city, and ever since Gato moved here, it has become almost nothing. We are so poor that we have nothing. Even our nobles don't have much money, and what they and the rest of us have depends on whether or not the bridge gets built. Tazuna groaned, we poor people are paying for this mission because we don't have enough money to pay for a mission of rank B or higher. The price was too high. Tazuna looked up and saw a group of ninja from Konoha. If you drop me off and leave me when we get to land, there will be no way to get back to the boat. Gato will kill me before I even get home, I'm sure. As the ninja thought about everything, there was a thick silence around them. What you did was stupid, because Gigi would have given you a down payment for the mission. You could have paid us back when Nami was back on its feet. Naruko brought up. Well, I guess we can keep going with the mission, Kakashi said at last. But if I ever think we're in over our heads and tell you three to quit the mission, you will do exactly what I say. Do you get it? He asked in an authoritative tone. When their sensei spoke, the three genin nodded. Many thanks. As he looked at the group, Tazuna mumbled something. As they got closer to Nami, the boat kept moving without making a sound. We're getting close. What did he say? We'll get to the pier by going under this arch and past the mangroves. Everyone stood up as they went under a big archway, went through it, and came out on the other side by a small lake with an inlet. There were a few scattered trees around the water and a few buildings near the bank. As the group got closer to shore, they saw that most of the buildings were in bad shape. The boat made it to the dock, and the Konoha ninja and one master bridge builder got off. After Tazuna and the boatman said goodbye to each other, the group moved on. Most of the time, it was quiet, and the only sound was the group's breathing. Again, Naruto was in charge, and Sakura and Sasuke were on either side of Tazuna. Kakashi was at the back of the group. He had his book in his pocket because the situation was so serious. As they kept walking, Naruko stopped and looked into a bush that was rustling. Naruko? Kakashi asked, looking at his student. What's wrong? After making her eyes stronger, she could only see a white hair. Wait, black? But it's summer, the grass should be brown. Kawarimi. Sending a quick pulse into the ground, one wave came back, and Kakashi heard a familiar sound at the same time. Get on the ground. At the same time, they both yelled. Kakashi grabbed Sasuke and Tazuna and pulled them to the ground. Naruko did the same thing to Sakura, who was shocked. When everyone looked up, they saw a big zanbatu stuck in a tree with a man standing on top of it. He was shirtless and wore two armbands with cameos on them and pants. Half of his face was wrapped in bandages up to his nose, and his headband was tilted a bit, like Kakashi's, but it didn't cover his eyes. It held up his black hair in spikes. On the headband, there was a symbol of Kiri with a slash through the middle. Well, it can't be Hitaki Kakashi, can it? The man spoke in a harsh voice. Kakashi stood up and gave the man an angry look. Momoichi Zabuza, the Kirigakure no Kijin. I never thought someone like you would work for a lowlife like Gato. Zabuza shrugged, it helps pay for things. Also, if I get to fight someone like you, it's all worth it. When I was in Kiri, you were in our bingo book as an A-rank ninja with a kill on sight order. Hitaki Kakashi was the man who copied more than 1,000 jutsu. I didn't know that our teacher was so well known. Sakura had an idea. Now that we've said our hellos, why don't you hand over the old man and I'll let you and your genin squad go? Zabuza suggested. Sorry, but keeping him alive is our job. Kakashi said. Guys, if I don't. This might be hard. Kakashi said as he took his other headband off. Wait, Momoichi Zabuza, weren't you once one of Kiri's 7 swordsmen? Naruko said. Kakashi thought Naruko was crazy when he looked at her. Yes, I am one of the 7 swordsmen of Kiri. Well, it was anyhow. Zabuza said, why? I can feel your Kenki, and I want to know where I am on the swords plateau. With a sparkle in her eye, Naruko said. Naruko, sit down. You don't stand a chance. Now hold on Hitaki, girly, are you telling me you can feel my Kenki? Zabuza asked, and the blonde said yes. He grinned because it was almost impossible for a genin to feel Kenki, so this could be fun. Well, then, who am I to keep a new Kenjutsu user from showing her strength? Play, Sword of Promised Victory, from the Fate Stay Night soundtrack. Naruko's clothes changed in a flash of gold light into white and silver armor. No one knew how she did it, but as she drew her invisible blade, her reinforcements and chakra pumped as fast as they could through her body. Zabuza raised an imaginary eyebrow at her weapon. Was it a solidified K's no Yeba or an invisible weapon? He would find this interesting either way. So, they fought. One hard blow after another shocked the people watching. Zabuza had to defend himself against the blonde girl's attacks in order to stay away from the invisible sword. Naruko wanted this, and she had been training for it ever since Nemu saved her. To push herself to the limit, to carry this sword with pride, and to be the best. Kyuubi even woke up excited to see how his vessel worked. After all, she was a reflection of his power, and he wouldn't have liked it if she had been weak. After 5 minutes of fighting, Zabuza gave her a kick that sent her flying into the lake. Kakashi was about to step in, but he saw his genin roll on top of the water and wave her hand. A wall of water came up behind her, and she crouched on it. Both Jonin now know how much control she had over water, since a move like that would need affinity control at the Jonin level. Damn. Not yet, I'm not done yet. Naruko thought as she made a hand sign with one hand and whispered, Kai. A light blue glow surrounded her, but it went away when she let go of her 15-pound gravity seal, and jumped off the water wall twice as fast as before. She had weights on? Was it a seal of weight? I need to talk to her as soon as this is over. Kakashi was amazed as he looked at his sensei's daughter. As the fight on the lake went on, Zabuza tried a vertical slice, which Naruko blocked. At this point, they were tied, but Zabuza was so much stronger that Naruko was being pushed back. He was tired of not knowing the length of the sword he was fighting, so he pushed forward and Naruko stumbled for a second. That was long enough for him to splash the water with his sword, hoping the rain would show how long the sword was. He was surprised when the water fell around her instead of on her. She slashed Zabuza's shoulder, and he gave her a quick roundhouse kick to the side, giving them some space. It was neither a deep nor a shallow cut. Zabuza looked at the girl in front of him and laughed. It was amazing for a genin to be this good with a sword. What's your name, girl? He was really interested. Uzumaki, Naruko, Konoha's saber. She said between her pants, grinning. She had a few cuts and scrapes, but Kyuubi and Avalon were helping them heal. She also gave the name she wanted to give her child to honor her role model. Saber, huh? You have a good name. The low-level genin with Kenjutsu, huh? I might take you with me after I kill the old man and your team. We could always use someone like you to learn from. As he saw it, this girl had a lot of talent. He wouldn't lose such a good chance. Naruko stopped when she heard this. Get rid of her. Those words from that night kept coming back to her mind. People told him to go away. She started shaking out of fear. She didn't want to be taken again, no, no, no. She thought of screaming. Her armor turned into gold dust, and so did her sword. Kakashi saw this and knew from Naruko's psych report that words like these had some effect on her. He ran up to her quickly, felt her shaking, jumped back, and put her next to Sakura. Sakura, watch out for Naruko. Sasuke, protect them both and Tazuna as well. Don't worry, I never let a friend die. Kakashi said. Okay, then let's see what you can do. Zabuza said. After making a thick mist in which he disappeared, Kakashi showed Zabuza his Sharingan and told him he was proud to fight against it. Zabuza tried to attack the team, but Kakashi was able to stop him. But it was a lie that Zabuza was just a copy of water. The real one showed up ready to kill. Too bad Kakashi was ready for it and had his own water clone ready to fight back. How could you copy me in the fog? Zabuza said surprised. It's finished. Kakashi said as he came out of the shadows behind him with a kunai around his neck. I don't think it's over yet. As he turned into water, Zabuza said. When the real Zabuza showed up, he tried to cut off Kakashi's head. Kakashi was quicker and ducked at the last second. Zabuza, on the other hand, put the sword's blade on the ground and used it as a lever to hit Kakashi hard enough to knock him into the lake. Zabuza was able to lock him up with a water prison technique. It's time to deal with the kids and get a new tool. Zabuza said with glee. The Mizu Bushin came up to them slowly. In Naruko's mind. Kit, stop crying right now. You are my vessel, so you need to be strong. Look at you now. You can't think straight because of a few words. I thought it was over for you? I guess I was wrong. I just lost what little respect I had for you. Now where is that sarcastic, positive, pain in the ass of a vessel of mine, because you are not her? Kyuubi? She asked in a daze as she looked at the huge fox in the forest of her mind. No, it's the crazy Ichibi. Of course it's me. Now, get some backbone and show this monkey what my ship can really do, or give me control. Even though I can't promise anyone's life, Kit, I might just kill them for fun. He said this with a cruel smile to get her out of her bad mood, because there was no way in hell he would let that stupid swordsman turn his ship into a tool. That makes Naruko's eyes get bigger. Even though she didn't like her team, she didn't want them to die. No. We may be working together, but I won't lose these people. If Uchiha dies, those idiots back home would blame me. Even though I don't like them, I kind of like them after a while. So, no, if you want to see strength, here it is. She left her mind with fire in her eyes, but she didn't forget Kyuubi's smile, even though he wanted the Uchiha to die. Back at the lake. Haruno? As Naruko came out of her daze, she told her teammate. Naruko, we might not make it. She said it with a voice full of fear. No, none of us are going to die here. She said as she shakily stood up. She saw Sasuke come down from the Mizu Bushin, and they moved toward the two kunoichi and one client. Naruko focused her prana and chakra on her arms and feet. She took a wide stance, called up her sword, and held it behind her. Wind started to come from the sword. Even the downtrodden Sasuke was looking at her, and all of a sudden, the blonde shot towards Zabuza like a bullet. She ran into some copies of Mizu, but as she moved through them, they turned into water. Zabuza put his sword in front of him to stop what he thought was a last-ditch effort to help the girl's sensei. As the swords clashed, he heard her whisper two small words. Prana burst. And with a blinding flash of gold light, his Zanbatsu broke. All that was left was the handle and about 1/5 of the blade. The force of the blow knocked him off the water prison jutsu, letting Kakashi go. Now that Zabuza was angry, he slashed at her with what was left of his sword. Kakashi jumped in front of him before he could close the gap. I'm with you in your fight, Kakashi said, his sharing an eye glaring at the Kiri Nuke Nin. Zabuza gave Kakashi a dirty look, then jumped back and put his Zanbatsu on Kakashi's back. Okay with me. After I kill you, I'll just kill the kids and take the girl. He started making hand seals and moved so fast that none of the genin could keep up. But Kakashi could see them, and it wasn't hard for him to copy the hand seals that Zabuza was making. Water release. Water Dragon Jutsu, Sweden, Suiryuden no Jutsu. At the same time, Kakashi and Zabuza both yelled. In front of the two shinobi, two big water dragons with yellow eyes that were glowing collided with a loud roar, canceling each other out. Zabuza growled as he did more hand seals. He did this, but as he did, he saw Kakashi start to do his own hand seals. What is it? It's as if he could. What's on my mind? Kakashi finished by copying Zabuza's hand seals while Zabuza was doing them himself. Zabuza growled as he tried to seal his hand more quickly. I won't let some. It looks like you copied me. At the same time, they both yelled. As they kept hand sealing each other, Zabuza stopped and stared when he saw something shocking behind Kakashi. Is that me? He asked as a wavy image of himself appeared behind Kakashi. Sweden. Daibakufu no Jutsu, Water Release, Great Water Vortex Jutsu. Kakashi yelled, and a huge vortex of water came at Zabuza, who was shocked. Zabuza was shot into the air, and the only thing that stopped him was hitting a tree hard enough to break the bark. He felt someone above him, and when he looked up, he saw Kakashi sitting on a tree branch and holding a kunai. Can you see the future? Zabuza asked. He wasn't sure why he was asking that, but it made sense based on what he had seen. Yes, Kakashi said, staring at Zabuza with his mixed-up eyes. And you're going to die. Several senbon went through Zabuza's neck before Kakashi could finish him off. Zabuza's eyes rolled up in the back of his head as he fell to the ground. You were right, said a voice that came from Kakashi's left. Turning, he saw a young person whose gender was hard to tell due to the blue robes that covered her form. Kakashi could tell from the mask on the person's face that it was a hunter ninja mask from Kiri. This was going to be his final battle. Kakashi grunted as he leapt off the branch and made his way over to Zabuza, checking the man's pulse. He's dead, he muttered and looked at the hunter ninja. You're a hunter ninja from Kiri? The ninja hunter made a bow. I am, and I'd like to thank you for keeping him waiting for me. Momoichi Zabuza has been on my mind for a long time. Kakashi sighed as he put the headband back on his Sharingan and sighed again. Behind him, a group of genin came up and looked at the hunter ninja with interest. The hunter ninja vanished in a swirl of water and then reappeared next to Zabuza's body. The hunter ninja picked up Zabuza by bending down and putting the man's arm over his shoulder. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to destroy this body because it holds many secrets. Naruko frowned as she saw the hunter ninja disappear in another swirl of water. After using Prana Burst, she felt like she was going to pass out. You see, it makes you better by filling your weapons and body with magical energy and then letting it go right away. To put it simply, using a lot of prana to make the same effect as Jet Burst. Like she did to Zabuza's sword, she can destroy a normal weapon that isn't a divine mystery with just one blow. It also makes one's defense much stronger. Nimue even said that Arturia mostly used this skill to defend herself and move quickly. Kakashi-sensei. When Naruko turned around, she saw Kakashi face first on the ground with his one eye closed. He's just unconscious. A sign that the chakras are worn out. She let them know. Naruko sighed and stood up. She put her hands together in the ram seal and said, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 3 clones appeared out of thin air, and 2 of them picked up Kakashi by his arms and legs. We need to get to Tazuna House Sans right away. Do you think you can show us the way? Asked Naruko. Yeah, said Tazuna as he tried to figure out where he was. Just go this way, please. Uchiha go first, because I'm. Naruko said this as she, too, fell down and her clone picked her up. He looked at her and did what she said. He wouldn't have done that normally, but since their sensei was gone, he was in charge. So, they walked to Tazuna's house, keeping an eye out for attacks. The following morning, Naruko's eyes fluttered open, and when she looked around, she saw Kakashi lying on his back with a blanket over him, just like she was, and Sakura sitting next to both of them to make sure they were okay. Kakashi turned around and smiled at her. Sleeping Beauty, good morning. You feel better? I'm pretty sure I don't. In return, she got a small smile. After that, the group was quiet for a while as they thought about what had happened and what they should do next. Well, at least we beat that strong ninja this time, said Tazuna with a laugh of relief. So for now we should be safe. By the way, who was that kid in the mask? Sakura asked. She had read about ninjas who wore masks like that before. That's the mask that the special team of hunter ninja from Kirigakure wears, Naruko said. People also call them body erasers. Their job is to get rid of a body so that nothing is left behind. A medical ninja can find out many secrets about a ninja's body by looking at it in the right way. Things like ninjutsu, the different kinds of chakra, herbs, and a lot of other secrets will show things about the village. For example, the secrets of the Sharingan could be revealed if Hitaki-san died. If you aren't careful, the enemy might steal your jutsu. What makes you think that Uzumaki? Sasuke asked. Unlike most of my classmates at the academy, I look at the history of all the other villages to find out what I might face from an enemy shinobi, such as what special weapons they use or that village's Kekai Genkai. I also looked into Kiri a lot because I use Suiten a lot. Kakashi and the rest of her team nodded. It seemed like she really was very good at Suiten, especially based on how she controlled the water from the lake before. That's why there are hunter ninja. Everyone else in the group looked at Kakashi. Hunter ninja are sent out into the world to find the missing ninja from their village. They do this to keep the secrets of their village safe. They are experts who keep the secrets of their village safe. Zabuza has been cut up and thrown away, right? As she spoke, Sakura asked with a pale face. Scary. Naruko's head shook. I'm not so sure. Sakura looked at Naruko and asked, what do you mean? What don't you know for sure? When Naruko thought about what she had read about hunters, she frowned. When a hunter ninja gets rid of a dead body, it should be right there. So, no one can find out what they might be hiding before they can get rid of it. Most of the time, they cut the head off and then burn the body. However, she thought about the time they met the hunter ninja. But that ninja didn't do that. Instead, he took the body with him and left. On top of that, he killed the target with Senbon. Naruko knew a lot about long-range weapons because she had spent so much time with Tenten. You're right on the money, Naruko. Kakashi said, sounding pleased that his genin had figured out everything. I've been wondering about that myself. I also have an idea. Someplace in the woods. The hunter ninja looked over Zabuza's body in a forest not far from where he had fought the Konoha ninja. The hunter took a toolkit out of a pouch and laid it out on the ground. The ninja grabbed a pair of clippers and took them to Zabuza. First, I'll cut the mouthcloth off and let some blood out. The ninja mumbled as he carefully brought the clippers close to Zabuza's face while he was still wearing clothes. Zabuza's hand shot up and grabbed the hunter's arm right before the hunter could cut the cloth. That's okay, I'll take care of it myself. Zabuza said with a small gasp for air. Oh. The hunter sounded surprised and amused at the same time. You're already alive again. Zabuza grunted as he pulled the senbon out of his neck with a yank. Man, you sure are rough. As he pulled them out, he groaned. Oh. You're being pretty rough with yourself by pulling them out like that. If you keep pulling them out like that, you could really die. Says the hunter. Zabuza just gave a non-committal grunt. He asked, how long are you going to keep wearing that stupid mask? I like this mask. It makes me think of the good old days, said the fake hunter. Even so, the fake hunter reached up and took off the mask. Plus, it helped with this act. If I hadn't come and saved you, you would have died for sure. The fake hunter checked Zabuza's vital signs to see how much damage the fight and being temporarily dead had done to him. Because of who he was fighting, the man had a lot more wounds than usual, but the hunter was sure he would live. For about a week, you shouldn't be able to move around much. But if I know you, I think you'll be up and moving around sooner. Zabuza smiled as he looked at his partner out of the corner of his eye. Well, aren't you smart? I like that about you. Of course, his partner replied with a smile, I'm just a kid. The fog has lifted, said the fake ninja hunter as he stood up and looked around. The fake hunter ninja looked down and asked, will you be okay next time? Zabuza's eyes got smaller, and he made a sound like a growl. The next time, I'll beat the Sharingan and get a prize for us. Start killing animals so that Kabikari Hucho can drink their blood to get iron. Hi. Back on Team 7. What do you mean Zabuza's alive? Sakura screamed, which made everyone cover their ears and shake the windows. Kakashi told Sakura, keep your voice down, and then he cleared his throat. Just think about it. The hunter ninja killed Zabuza with senbon. But the chance that it will kill someone is low unless it hits a vital organ. It is something that doctors use in acupuncture. Hunter ninja know and understand a lot about how the human body works. So it would be easy to make someone feel like they were dying for a short time. Let's look at what's going on. First, he took away the body of Zabuza, who was much heavier. Second, he used a weapon that doesn't kill very often. So you're saying that Zabuza is still alive, right? Sasuke stated. Yes, that's exactly what I mean, Kakashi agreed. People in the room seemed to react in different ways to the news that Zabuza was still alive. Sasuke was grinning because he thought he would get another chance to fight a strong opponent, prove he was a Uchiha, and get closer to Itachi. Sakura looked around with worry because she didn't feel nearly as sure of herself as her crush. She knew there was no way she could help in this fight. Naruko was thinking about what she had done and seen during Kakashi's fight with Zabuza. She knew she didn't stand a chance against a man who could fight her, sensei, head to head. Also, Kakashi was almost defeated, and if she hadn't stepped in at the right time, Zabuza might have underestimated them and she might have had to use the chakra cloak. Don't you think that you're giving this too much thought? Is that really strong ninja coming back? Asked Tazuna, who was now worried that he might be. I mean, hunter ninja are supposed to kill missing ninja. One of the rules for shinobi is to always be ready for the worst that could happen, Kakashi said. Even if Zabuza dies, Gato is likely to hire another ninja who is even stronger. Either way, it's clear that we need to get ready. But what should we do? Sakura, who was scared just to think about seeing Zabuza again, asked. This mission was getting worse and worse for her, and she was starting to feel like she couldn't do anything else. I mean, we're just genin, and you guys can hardly move. Hee, Kakashi said with a laugh, as if he thought this whole thing was funny. You guys will be training. Huh? Training. Sakura said in surprise, what's a little training going to do, sensei? Our enemy is someone you had trouble with, Even with the Sharingan and Naruko, our strongest member, only got a scratch on him. Chaw. He's trying to get us killed. Sakura's inner self yelled. Sakura, who saved me when I was stuck in that prison of water? Kakashi spoke slowly. His question was a rhetorical one, but it was clear what he was trying to say. You guys have all changed a lot for the better. The Cyclopean Jonin looked at Naruko and smiled at her with his eyes. This is just practice for you guys to get better, she said. Kakashi kept going. He didn't know what two of his genin were thinking. Even if I teach you how to beat Zabuza, you won't be able to do it without me. But, sensei, Zabuza could attack at any time if he is still alive. Sakura protested. Should we train then? Kakashi told her, don't worry. You have to keep in mind that Zabuza was hurt more than I was. On top of that, he was made to feel like he was dying. After something like that, it will take his body a while to get better. So until then, we'll train. So now you really want to train us, Naruko said. Ma, Naruko, I taught you how to do things. Kakashi defended himself. Yeah, chores, some failed team building exercises, and you reading your porn are all very helpful, he said. Naruko shot back. I'm talking about training to help us get better at what we do. Working together is important. With a small shrug, Kakashi said. I don't say it's not important to work as a team, sensei. Naruko's eyes got narrow. But we both know that each person's skills are just as important. I'm strong because I've trained every day since I was 4, from dawn until dusk. When I was done, I was covered in blood and sweat. You still haven't taught us some of the simplest things we should have learned on the second day we became a team, not a month later when we went from a C rank to an A rank. With a nod, Kakashi agreed with that point. Naruko was right, individual skills were important. But the silver-haired Jonin wanted to disprove the idea that a shinobi's most important trait was working well with others. Why do you bother at all? When everyone turned to see where the new voice was coming from, they saw a 6 to 8-year-old kid who looked sad. He was wearing a yellow shirt under a blue coverall and a fishing hat on his head. Oh. Inari. What were you doing? As a way to say hello, Tazuna held out his arms, and Inari ran over to give him a hug. Welcome home, Grandpa. Inari said, then gave the Konoha ninja a dirty look. Inari, tell these people hello. Tsunami put her hands on her hips and spoke. They are the ninjas who kept Grandpa safe. Mom, but they're going to die. When Inari said that, everyone looked shocked and angry. Tazuna and Tsunami just sighed. They have no chance of beating Gato. May, you are a ball of sunshine. Did a rat die after it crawled up your behind? I don't think an 8-year-old can make a decision like that just because he has nothing to do. He can go to hell, because she has been through worse than this kid, and he acts like Nami's emo Uchiha. Inari just stared at her, and when she did the same, he jerked back. He went back the way he came and went to the door. You should leave if you don't want to die. Where are you going, Inari? Tsunami asked with worry in his voice. I'm going to see the sea. Before he left, Inari said something and slammed the door shut. I'm sorry that happened. As he looked at the Konoha ninja, Tazuna said in a sad voice, I can't help you. Whatever, he's just acting out because he's a rude little brat who has no idea how to deal with a problem like this. Naruko responded. Anyway, I think I'll go to bed for a while. If that's the case, there are a few extra rooms on the right for you if you want one. Tsunami said helpfully. Naruko gave her a smile, thanks you Tsunami-san. She left Kakashi's room and went to one that Tsunami had told her was free. She heard crying as she walked by Inari's room. She stopped to listen because she was curious. To-san. When Naruko heard Inari sobbing and whispering, she sighed and went to bed. The following morning, Naruko, Sakura, and Sasuke went outside with Kakashi, who was on crutches, to start training. While they were standing in the clearing, Kakashi turned around and looked at the three of them. Alright, we'll start training now. He let them know. Naruko said, it looks like you can finally say you've earned your paycheck. Well, I'm very happy with my paycheck. Kakashi said with a drop of sweat on his forehead. Before we start training, I'd like to tell you about Chakra. The lesson kept going for Kakashi. Why would you even ask us that? Naruko asked. We know about chakra already. Well, you seem to know a lot about it, so why don't you tell me what chakra is? Kakashi suggested. It's what we use to make jutsu. Naruko said, sounding bored. Kakashi asked, and? To try to get the blonde to say more. I'm not giving you an answer from a textbook, so please move on. Naruko said with a bit of irritation. Kakashi's sweat dropped again. Alright, I guess we should just go train. Kakashi thought it would be best to just get going. Sensei, am I right about what we're doing? With a sweet smile, Naruko said. Kakashi smiled at all of them with his eyes. You're going to learn how to climb trees. Sasuke and Sakura's faces turned red, and Naruko's eye flickered. How does climbing up a tree make us stronger? With a scowl on his face, Sasuke asked. So, he doesn't yet know how to climb a tree. With a smirk, Naruko thought. This should be entertaining to see. I'm glad you asked, Sasuke. Kakashi gave his student with black hair an eye smile. Not only will you be able to fight on a vertical surface, but climbing trees also helps you control your chakra. Kakashi crawled over to one of the trees in the clearing and climbed up it. He made a focus sign with his hand and sent chakra to the bottom of his feet. He put one foot on the trunk of the tree, then the other. Soon, he was walking up the tree, which seemed to go against the laws of gravity. When he got up on a branch and hung upside down, he stopped. He looked down and saw that Sakura and Sasuke were shocked and Naruko was bored. Could she have done this before? Yesterday, she was definitely walking on water. As he looked at her, Kakashi thought. People think that it is hardest to send chakra to the feet. So, in theory, if you can learn how to climb trees, you can learn how to do any jutsu. Kakashi explained. Hey, sensei, I know how to do this. Naruko told them, which made Sasuke's eyes close and Sakura's eyes get bigger. I see. So why don't you just show me? Kakashi pointed to a tree on the right side of him. Naruko sighed as she walked up to the tree. As she did so, she unconsciously sent chakra to her feet and began to climb up against gravity. She kept walking until she was about the same height as Kakashi, then she hung upside down on a branch like he did. Are you happy? She asked in a fake happy voice. Well, these two can work on this exercise I wanted to talk to you about yesterday anyway. He looked at the two people with pink and black hair. I want you two to run up those trees and see if you can walk up and down them a few times if you make it to the top. I'll check up on you soon. Then he started walking through the woods and asked the blonde to come with him. Deeper in the woods. Kakashi turned to his student when he was sure that he and his student were far enough away that his noise wouldn't reach his teammates. I have to say that what you did yesterday was both amazing and dumb. Can you explain why? I fought in a rank Jonin and hit him. I also saved you and broke his most prized weapon. She spoke in an even voice. Oh, yes, that's something else. What did you do? I can keep my secrets, Hitaki-san, because it was an Uzumaki clan technique I read about in a scroll, and as a member of the Uzumaki clan, I have independent rights in the village because of our ties to the Senju clan. Now, are you questioning me or will you help me train for that fake hunter nin and, if necessary, help you with Zabuza? Can you tell me at least a little bit? If we're going to do this, I need to know some of your more advanced skills. I can tell right away that your water control is at least Jonin level. Is it the only thing you like? He really needed to do this if he ever wanted to train her. He was right, no, wind is my number 1, and water and lightning are my number 2. Since you know Raiden Jutsu, do you think you could teach me 1 or 2? I only know Jabashiri, which needs water to work. It would help against Zabuza and his friend. That made sense, and if water was her secondary affinity, he couldn't imagine what she could do with wind and lightning once she was as good at them as she was with water. Since you already know the secret to Kage Bunshin, I'll tell you 2 techniques. Do you know Sweden, Suijinheki? He got the go-ahead. Then I'll show you a Raiden that will make its defense stronger. It's called Raiden Kangekiha, Inspiration Wave, and it has an offensive version called Raiden Gion, False Darkness. It's a B rank, so be careful with it and don't tell Sasuke because I don't want to deal with his attitude. He showed her how to sign for them with his hands, and then Naruko asked a question that had been bothering her. Because he might run away, right? Is that why you want to teach us so slowly? She asked with a smirk, since it was easy to tell from the way he was acting. Kakashi gave her a dull stare. You really are very perceptive, and you're right, that's why I hoped that the teamwork activity would help him make some connections. Also, would you mind telling me why you froze before? She tensed up, but she sighed because she knew he saw it. Since you're my teacher, I'm sure you read my psych report. Since the time I was 4, those words would play over and over in my head, making me feel like I was going to be beaten again and thrown into a lake to drown, but that fuzzball woke me up. So, as he put it, I should feel much better now as long as I remember what I fight for and who I stand for. With a small smile, she said. You talked to it? Kakashi asked with wide eyes. Yes, I've known him for 2 years, but he's very lazy. She laughed, even though he was asleep. Kakashi asked Naruko a question that would really show him how much she could do. How much are you able to control his chakra? She looked at him as if to ask, do you really want to know? And he nodded. After 2 years of training, I can now control up to 2 of his chakras. It's not easy, sensei, to keep that much hate and bloodlust in check. Since he had finally taught her something, she would now call him sensei. This made him very happy. Kakashi was unable to keep from smiling. How much more could she do by the time she's 15 or 16 if she was able to control that much of the beast's chakra when she was only 12? That's great, Naruko. Use it if you need to, and don't worry about your teammate. If we have to, we'll tell them it's a clan jutsu. Using that chakra was their best option if the worst things could happen. He didn't want to force her to use that power in front of the other people on her team. She gave her teammates a grateful smile because she didn't want to go into detail about her sudden power boost. You can only train today because you have to watch over Tazuna tomorrow. Your clones can train for you by the bridge while you watch over Tazuna. I've got to go check on the others now. Naruko, train hard, because I'm sure you'll become Hokage. As he moved away, he said. If he had turned around, he would have seen the blonde girl's beautiful smile. So, she turned on her gravity seal again and planned to train to meet the standards of her new sensei. Where the bridge is. As Naruko looks at the town from the bridge, she sighs. Kyuubi, if people want to, they can be just as horrible as demons. Bah. Why do you care about these monkeys at all? When that bridge is finished, you'll be gone. Every legend has to start somewhere, Kyuubi. Why not get rid of a crooked little person? If you promise to be good, you might even be able to go outside and play. Che, fighting 1 or 2 ninja is too boring, Kit. You can use my power, but unless it's an army, I'll be taking a nap. Lazy. That was the last thing Naruko thought as she cut off her connection with Kyuubi. She looked down at her clones training near the bridge, while other clones patrolled the area in case Gato's goons got any ideas. She heard Tazuna yell at one of his workers and say that if he had to, he would finish the bridge by himself. Tazuna OG-san, you okay? Naruko asked with some concern. It's okay, kid, Tazuna said with a sigh. It's just that the workers are losing hope, and we're so close to being done. Would you like my help? She asked, grinning. What are you able to do to help? He wouldn't say no to her because he could use the money. How would you like one? Clones that don't need lunch breaks or wine. Those clones can help us, she agreed. Make some, and I'll tell them what to do. We might be able to finish even faster if we use them. With that, a construction crew of 10 people was formed. The rest of the night was spent at Tazuna's house. Naruko needed to know what was wrong with Inari, so she asked Tazuna. Tazuna told Team 7 the sad story of Inari's stepfather Kaiza, who tried to stand up to Gato and his goons but was beaten and killed in front of everyone by Gato's men while the family was having dinner. The family of 3 in Team 7 ate their meals in silence. So, Sensei, how are my teammates doing with tree climbing? Asked Naruko to say something. When Kakashi was finally able to walk again, he smiled and said, well, Sasuke is about 3/4 of the way up, and Sakura got it on the first try. Sensei, I've been meaning to ask, but if I can do it already, should I be helping Naruko on the bridge? Sakura asked. Naruko was surprised by this because she thought Sakura would want to stay with Sasuke. It seemed like she was taking her training more seriously. When she thought about her question, Naruko laughed because she knew why her sensei was doing it. Naruko, what's so funny? Sakura asked, narrowing her eyes. It looked like her teammate still thought she was a joke, and, at this point in the series, you are. Naruko stopped laughing and smiled. Sorry, Sakura. It's just that I understand why Kakashi-sensei is making you work so hard. When Naruko called her by her first name for the first time, Sakura looked confused and let out a small gasp. Really? What's that? Even though you may be good at controlling your chakra, it's because you have so little of it. This is normal for someone from a civilian family like you. But what do my family and my chakra reserve have in common? Tenten called this Naruko's lecture mode V1. She put her right elbow in her left hand, held her right index finger up, and crossed her left leg over her right. This is because of how they were born. Shinobi from a clan come from a long line of shinobi, so their genes are passed down from parent to child, making them stronger. I, Uchiha, and Sensei are all examples of this because we all come from shinobi clans, or in the case of Sensei, a shinobi family. This gives us an advantage over civilian shinobi because we have more chakra, but we have to work harder to control it. A civilian shinobi would have more chakra, but it would be easier for them to control. So Sensei wants you to keep doing this exercise to build up your chakra reserves, because the more chakra you have, the more jutsus you can do, and the better you are at controlling your chakra, the less chakra you need to do jutsus. She then went back to her starting position to continue eating, and everyone at the table looked at her like she was crazy, except Kakashi, who gave her an eye smile and a whistle. Yes, that's what I was doing the whole time, so thank you Naruko. Or maybe Sensei just wanted you to sweat and laugh when you fell off the tree, Naruko said to make fun of her teacher. Meanie, Kakashi sulked. Then, one of the children in the group slammed his hand on the table and asked, why are we all even bothering? You're all going to die anyway, because none of you are strong enough to beat Gato. When Sasuke heard this, he rolled his eyes at Inari's little rant. He was about to say that a weakling like him wouldn't know anything about them, but Naruko spoke up before he could. Naruko said, don't act like you know anything about us, brat. We're much stronger than you think, and we have no plans to die for a weak fool like Gato. No, you're wrong. You're all going to die because you don't know what it's like here, and Gato can't be beaten. The young boy cried. The strong will always win over the weak. The blonde looked up at Inari and glared. Gato is nothing but money and hired guns. He is a weak little fool who will die sooner or later, and if we're lucky, we can kill him ourselves. Don't include us in the pity party you call your life, because I don't want to be a part of it. Even more tears rolled down Inari's face as he glared at Naruko and said, I'm glad we're not alike. I wouldn't want to be you. Even though you don't know anything about this country, you keep asking questions about it. Who the hell do you think you are? I'm not like you. You always look so happy, like you don't care about anything. You have no idea how hard life is. Naruko raised her head and glared at the kid. Her eyes were filled with killing intent, which caused Inari's eyes to widen and for him to start shaking. Stop complaining about your life and just listen to yourself. You think you have it so hard. Naruko's voice was calm and had no emotion, and it scared everyone except Kakashi to death. Naruko got up and walked over to the child, who couldn't move because the blonde was trying to kill him. Naruko's glare seemed to get stronger as she thought about the children she'd seen around Nami during her patrols. The ones whose parents had disappeared, probably because Gato had his men kill them. You sit here in this house with your loving family, with a mom who cooks for you, worries about you, and loves you no matter what. Naruko laughed at the boy and said, what a hard life. Your grandfather is building a bridge so that you and your country can be free from Gato's rule. Oh, Two-san died, you little shitstain, grow up. Her voice was full of anger. I bet you've never even left this small safe place, have you? You haven't even been to the town lately, where kids younger than you have lost both of their parents. Children who don't have a mother to cook them food or a grandfather who will stand up to a tyrant for them. I will never be like you, and if I ever was, I'd rather die. Look at you whine and complain to the whole world like it's your job to tell all these people to roll over and die. You make me sick, and you make Kaisa's name look bad. When the blonde said the name of his father figure, Inari's eyes got bigger. Naruko gave a disgusted snort and then turned around and headed for the door. Where are you going, Naruko? Kakashi asked as the blonde woman opened the door. Blow this forest to hell before I kill this little jerk. Naruko yelled as she shut the door as hard as she could. Everyone looked at the door Naruko had left through, wondering what Inari had said to make the blonde react so strongly. Inari sniffled several times before he followed Naruko out the door. This is a disaster, but I'm not surprised that Naruko reacted that way, Kakashi thought as he put his book away and stood up. He walked out the door and around to the back, where he saw Inari sitting with his feet in the water. Can I join you? Kakashi asked, and Inari turned his head. The area was once known as a forest. Boom. Naruko was in her first tail cloak, ripping the forest down to its roots. How dare he say he has a hard life? He wouldn't last one day in my life. She yelled in her head as she threw out a chakra arm and destroyed 9 trees in a row. Oh, destruction therapy? My, what happened to make you so cool as ice? I need to know so I can try it myself. If you want to, you can look through my memories. I'm afraid it will always be there. After a few minutes and the death of 14 more trees. Oh, that little worm thinks he has it rough. If only you could do a genjutsu to show him what your species is like at its worst. Stop talking about it and blow up more things. Kyuubi thought to himself, a vessel after my own heart, as he watched his vessel let out her anger, which was always good for him. The next morning, they went to Zabuza's hiding place. Haku sighed and said, "It looks like we're out of medicine herbs." The hunter ninja closed the pantry and went back into Zabuza's room. Haku walked over to the bed and looked at him. "You were hurt a lot more than I thought," he said. "We have no more herbs." "Okay, but come back soon," Zabuza said as he turned over to go to sleep. The area of the forest that has been cleared up. Haku hummed a small tune as he walked through the forest looking for the herbs that the fake hunter ninja had found a few days ago. After passing a particularly large tree, Haku found the herbs and bent down to pick one up, but he stopped when he saw a figure lying on the ground a little ways away. Haku cautiously walked up to the person on the ground to find out who it was. He saw that it was the blonde who Zabuza had wanted to join him, and his breath caught as he thought about what to do. Kneeling down, Haku looked at the figure. The girl's clothes were torn, revealing her slim but muscular body, like that of a runner, under her 4'9" frame. There were also a lot of broken trees and ones that had been uprooted in the area around the girl. Haku reached out to the blonde to knock her out and take her. The girl was the prize in Zabuza's plan, so the best thing to do would be to get rid of her before she could cause trouble and keep her safe for when the battle was over. Haku stopped in the middle of his move, sighed, and began to gently shake the blonde's shoulder. "Hey, wake up," Haku said, "you'll catch a cold if you sleep out here." Naruko woke up and swung her fist at Haku when he touched her for the first time. Haku just dodged it, and the girl woke up. She looked around and saw a beautiful girl with a heart-shaped face and chocolate brown eyes. "Hello," Naruko said as she yawned. "Hello," the stranger said. She got a better look at the person who woke her up. It was a young woman, maybe a year or two older than her, with long dark brown hair and chocolate brown eyes. She was wearing a pink yukata with blue floral designs and a small black choker around her neck. She was smiling at her with a kind smile. Naruko didn't know what to say, so she just said, "Wow, you're very pretty, Ne-san." Haku smiled and said, "Thank you, miss. You should be more careful, though, because if you stay out here all night, you might catch a cold and die. I've never been sick a day in my life." She paused and looked over at Haku. "So what about you?" she asked with a curious look on her face. "What are you doing at this time of day?" Haku smiled and lifted the basket she was holding. "I'm gathering herbs for a friend who was hurt a while ago. I'm putting these together to help him get better." "That's nice of you," Naruko said with an interested look in her eye. "I've read some medical books, so I know about herbs, and I know a lot about plants, so I could help." Haku bent down, put the basket back on the ground, and grabbed a few herbs as she said, "That would be nice. My name is Haku. I'm Naruko." Haku thought this would be a good chance to find out more about Zabuza's new target, so the fake hunter started talking. "So you're a ninja?" he said. Naruko looked up and blinked as she realized what was being asked. A second later, she smiled and said, "Yes, I am." "The headband probably gave me away, huh?" Haku smiled and said, "Maybe a little." Why did you decide to become a shinobi? Naruko stiffened a little but kept her cool. I became a shinobi to live up to the expectations of the person who saved me. I want to be stronger than my role models, but most of all, I want to be able to protect myself and the people I care about. She didn't say she wanted to be Hokage yet, because that was a long way off. Haku gave Naruko a puzzled look because her reasons sounded almost familiar. I see. That was a nice dream, he said, pausing for a moment before continuing. So what's a ninja doing out this early in the morning? I guess I blow things up to get rid of my anger and to train, too, she said with no shame. Haku asked, then why do you train? To get to the top. She spoke. Haku looked at the blonde from head to toe and said, you seem strong enough now. Maybe, but I'm not strong enough, Naruko said, shaking her head. I've got to get stronger. For that person who you admire? Asked Haku. Naruko nodded and said, yes, because I will get stronger and I will finally meet her at the end of my path. Naruko thought as she wanted to join the throne of heroes to meet Arturia when it was her time, but that would be when she was at least as old as Gigi. Haku released a giggle. What are you laughing at, Nei-san? Naruko pouted and asked. Nothing, Haku said with a smile. So, do you care about someone? Yes, a few. Naruko said. Haku nodded, remembering the day Zabuza came and gave her a reason to live. When a person has something important to protect, that's when they become truly strong. Naruko stopped and looked up at Haku. When she heard those words, she thought of Tenten and her dad, Iruka, Anko, Gigi, the father-daughter team at the ramen stand, and maybe even Team 7. Naruko said solemnly, I know exactly what you mean. You'll get strong. I understand, Haku said as he stood up and looked at Naruko. By the way, he added, I'm a boy. Naruko stopped moving for a second, her eyes got very big, and her face turned very red. There's no way in hell a boy could look that good. You're full of crap, said the blonde. As soon as the boy or girl left the clearing, she ran back to Tazuna's. The following day, Kakashi looked at the three genin, who all seemed ready to go. Are you all ready? He asked. He said. Naruko said, wait a minute, sensei, as she made 2 kage bunshin and had them form a defensive line around the house. Okay. Kakashi gave a thumbs up and said, good idea. Gato might send some of his goons after Tazuna's family. Let's go, Team 7. Zabuza's hideout. I think it's time to go, Haku, Zabuza said with a smile as he crushed an apple in his hand. Hi, Zabuza-sama. Did he really have to break my snack? On the bridge. What is this? Shout. Tazuna said as he saw that the mist was covered in a thick fog. The only things he could see were the bloody bodies on the bridge, which were still alive. Tazuna ran over to the one who was still awake and picked him up. What happened? He asked. Monster. The man sputtered before he passed out from losing too much blood. So he's back, Kakashi said in a low voice. As the fog got thicker, Kakashi narrowed his eyes and said, there they are. Formation for defense. As the mist got thicker, Kakashi and the other 3 genin took out their weapons and surrounded Tazuna. They could not see more than 10 feet in front of them. Kakashi-sensei. Sakura yelled as her fear returned, but she quickly got herself together. This is. Yeah, this is definitely Zabuza's Kirigakure no Jutsu, Kakashi said, looking around wearily even though he couldn't see very far. Zabuza's disembodied voice said, long time no see, Kakashi. I see you're still with those brats. Look at that Oniya, still he's shaking. After he said this, a group of Zabuzas appeared out of nowhere and surrounded the group. When Sasuke saw this, he just smiled, which surprised Zabuza. I'm so excited, he said. Zabuza just smiled when he heard this. He thought what Sasuke had said was funny. Show them what you've got, Sasuke, Kakashi said in a lazy way. Sasuke grinned and disappeared and then reappeared and the Mizu Bushin were destroyed. Not bad, it looks like your kids are getting better, and Haku, it looks like you have a speed rival, said Zabuza as he and Haku walked up to Team 7. It seems that way, Haku said with no emotion. Well, I guess I was right, it was all a show, Kakashi said. An act? asked Tazuna in surprise. Yes, and everything was done with just a simple mask. So you mean to tell me that all that stuff that guy said about being a hunter nin protecting his village was a bunch of bull? Asked Tazuna. Right, said Kakashi. And I'm willing to bet that those two have done this little trick a few times before. Sasuke said, that guy in the mask is mine, and I'm going to get rid of him. He and Haku then charged at each other. Tazuna home. Team 7 and Kakashi were fighting Zabuza and Haku at the same time that Tsunami, Tazuna's daughter, washed the dishes from breakfast. She was washing the dishes when she heard the door open. When she turned around, she saw Ziri and Waraji, Gato's 2 bodyguards, come in. So you're Tazuna's daughter, huh? I'm sorry, but you'll have to come with us, Ziri said. Upon seeing them, Tsunami tried to run away but she could not, as Zari quickly grabbed hold of her arm and pushed her into the nearby wall. When Inari heard his mother screaming and things breaking, he ran quickly into the room to see what was going on. When Tsunami saw her son, she told him to run away. When Waraji saw Inari, he quickly grabbed him and pushed him across the room, away from his mother. Should we also take this child? Asked Waraji. No, Gato only wants one hostage, his partner said. When Inari heard this, he realized that Gato was trying to force him to give up by holding his mother as a hostage. Okay, that's fine with me. Let's kill him, Waraji said with a cruel grin as he pulled out his katana. Tsunami said, wait, please don't hurt my son. He's just a boy and hasn't done anything wrong. I don't care what you do, just don't hurt him. Fine, said Ziri. Then you'll come with us without a fight. He then smiled at the scared and crying young Inari and said, guess it's your lucky day, kid. Your mom just saved you. After seeing Waraji and Ziri tie up his mother and walk out of the house with her, Inari started to cry even more. He kept telling his mother he was sorry and that he couldn't do anything because he was too scared. But as he was crying, he started to remember what his stepfather and Naruko had told him. Inari realized he couldn't just sit there and cry while Waraji and Ziri took his mother away. He had to do something to save her. As Waraji and Ziri led Tsunami, Waraji turned around, cupped Tsunami's face, and said, don't worry, your pretty little head. We'll take care of you. Come on, Waraji, we don't have time for this, Ziri said, but before the two men and Tsunami could move on, they heard Inari behind them telling them to stop. When they turned around, they saw Inari come out of the house and run straight at them. When the two men saw Inari coming at them, they just laughed at the young boy. Don't do it, Inari. Run away. Yelled Tsunami, but Ziri just hit her in the back of the head and knocked her out because he didn't want to deal with her anymore. Ziri said, let's finish this, as if he were on a ship. He and his partner then pulled out their katanas and charged straight at Inari, slashing at him. But as soon as they cut at Inari, he changed into a log. Ziri was surprised when he saw the shinobi technique and said, a kawarimi no jutsu. When Waraji turned back to Tsunami and saw that she was gone, he said, the woman is gone. Why the hell is this happening? A new voice said, well, it looks like I was right about what Gato would try. This made the two men look around to see who had just spoken. When they turned around to look behind them, they saw a young blonde girl in a blue outfit gently putting Tsunami on the ground while still holding Onari. Inari asked Naruko, what are you doing here? As she put him down. I thought there was a good chance Gato would try to kidnap you or your mom to use against your grandfather. That's why I have about 2 clones in the area keeping an eye out for him. I'm also sorry I was late. When I saw those guys enter the house, I didn't want to fight them in there, where your mom and you could have been caught in the crossfire. So I waited until they came out, but before I could act, you came charging out, Naruko said, smiling at the young boy. I have to say that you were pretty brave and did a great job there. It gave me the chance to save your mom without them knowing. Now I want you to close your eyes, because this might be too scary for a child, she said. Inari did as she said, and when he did, all he heard were screams and a sizzling sound. When Naruko put the tags for the incinerator on the 2 dead mercenaries, she and the other clones moved back into place in case more people showed up. Over the bridge. Clang. Swish. Clang clang clang. Were coming from the 2 Jonin as they fought. Sakura was fighting to protect Tazuna, and Naruko and Sasuke were fighting Haku. It looked like Naruko just did a kawarimi with one of her clones to help Sasuke avoid an ice needle jutsu. She then put it all together based on just that jutsu. Naruko said, to Sasuke's and Haku's surprise, that he was a Hyuuden user from the Yuki clan of Kiri. Sasuke was surprised to hear that you knew about him. From what I've learned in my studies of Kiri, the Yuki clan was a small clan that had a bloodline that allowed them to use Hyuuden. With Hyuuden, they could create ice techniques that no one else could do. But I thought the clan was extinct because it was said to have been wiped out a few years ago when Kiri was in turmoil and people turned against bloodline-holding clans because they were afraid of their great power on the battlefield. Haku said, you know your stuff, Naruko-san, because you're right and I am the last living member of the Yuki clan. Naruko knew the voice, but she fought off the feeling that it was a new friend. Kami seems to mess with her in strange ways. Sasuke nodded, and Naruko ran at Haku while Sasuke jumped back and threw kunai from a distance at places where he thought Haku would trip. After about a minute, the two used a kawarimi to switch places. This was done to keep Haku guessing and off balance. Sasuke rushed in with some taijutsu, and Naruko attacked with some Suiden, Tepdama and Mizurapa. As Haku tried to avoid a ball of compressed water, he gave Sasuke a hard kick, sending him sliding toward Naruko. Zabuza was shocked when he saw this, because he had never thought that brats could beat Haku. Zabuza told them that Haku was being nice to them. After that, Haku showed them his strongest technique, Maki Hish, Demon Ice Crystal Mirrors, in which he made a dome of ice mirrors around them. Haku then merged with the mirrors and attacked Naruko and Sasuke from all sides, making it almost impossible for them to defend themselves. Kakashi had tried to help them, but Zabuza stopped him, so Kakashi had to fight him. After looking at Naruko and Sasuke, Kakashi quickly looked at Sakura, who was still with Tazuna to protect him in case Zabuza got past him and went for the bridge builder. Zabuza laughed when he saw Kakashi look at his students. He said, if I were you, Kakashi, I'd be more worried about myself than those brats. Kakashi didn't answer, but he narrowed the one eye he could see and got ready to continue the battle. As Kakashi and Zabuza fought, Naruko and Sasuke were having trouble with their opponent. Sasuke was getting tired and had a lot of needles stuck in him, so it was hard for them to do anything. Naruko, on the other hand, broke her gravity seal and kept up with Haku. This wasn't hard for her because she had trained with Guy and Lee, but she was too busy protecting Sasuke to go for a hit. The magical properties of her armor kept her safe from the Senbon barrage. Sasuke also had trouble moving because several needles were stuck in the acupuncture points on his body. Even taking some of them off didn't really help. This is the end for you both. Please don't be mad at me, because I only did this because I have to, Haku said with sadness from the mirror. After that, images of Haku appeared in all the mirrors, making it hard for Naruko and Sasuke to tell which one was the real Haku and which way the ice user would come from. That boy is as good as dead and the girl will be coming with me, as no one can escape Haku's technique, not even me. Replied the confident Zabuza. I wouldn't be so sure of that, Zabuza, especially since Naruko and Sasuke are involved. Oh, and what makes you so sure of that? Asked Zabuza, generally curious as to what Kakashi had such faith in Naruko and Sasuke. Well, it's pretty simple, since I know what both of them can do, and you would too if you knew who they really were, Kakashi said. Zabuza asked, and what do you mean by that? You see, Sasuke's full name is Uchiha Sasuke. The unique bloodline of the Uchiha clan runs through Sasuke's veins, and the Sharingan is his birthright, Kakashi said before going on. And Naruko's full name is Uzumaki Naruko. She is one of Konoha's prodigies and the last member of the famous Uzumaki clan, which is related to the Senju clan by blood. Ah, I had heard that only a young boy had survived the tragedy of the Uchiha clan. That explains why he moves so quickly, and the fact that that girl is related to the Senju, even if only distantly, makes her even more of a prize, Zabuza said with excitement. Kakashi had a small laugh when he thought about Naruko training this week. She will be great one day, and I'll tell you something else about her, Kakashi said as he lifted his headband to show his Sharingan. Naruko's potential is greater than mine. Zabuza's worries grew when he heard this, because he was starting to doubt Haku's chances of winning, since Sasuke would be enough trouble. But Naruko was so strong that he started to wonder if Haku could really win. This was especially true after Kakashi said that Naruko's potential was higher than his own. Zabuza knew that Kakashi wouldn't say something like that if he didn't really believe it. Damn, I can no longer play with Kakashi. I need to take care of the bridge builder and Kakashi now, and then I'll help Haku. Not to mention grabbing that Uzumaki girl, Zabuza thought with a frown. After that, he used his Kirigakure no jutsu to make the mist get thicker and go away, so Kakashi couldn't use his Sharingan on him anymore. As the fight in the dome went on, Naruko and Sasuke were right next to each other. Naruko had just used her sword to block another round of Senbon, and Sasuke was trying to block them with his kunai. Sasuke was getting tired, and Naruko couldn't keep watching his back, so they had to come up with a plan. So he used the only move he could think of, Kaden, Jikaki no Jutsu, Fire Style, Great Fireball Technique. But when the fireball hit the ice mirror, it didn't even leave a scorch mark. Haku quickly went to a different ice mirror near Sasuke and used his speed to try to attack the young Uchiha. But when Haku struck, Sasuke spun around and blocked Haku's strike with his kunai, much to the young ice user's surprise. Impossible. Normal human eyes couldn't keep up with how fast I was going, so how did he see me coming? Haku thought in shock. Even though Sasuke couldn't see Haku's face, he could tell that the young ice user was surprised. You're not the only special person here, Sasuke said with a smirk. When Haku looked directly at Sasuke's face, the ice user's eyes widened slightly in surprise when he saw Sasuke's eyes. Instead of being black, Sasuke's eyes were now red, with one tomo in each of his right and left eyes. The Sharingan? Haku asked in shock. Sasuke said, it's not finished, but it's enough to keep up with your speed. Then he tried to kick Haku in the side, but was unable to hit Haku, as the young ice user was able to jump back, but just as Haku avoided the kick, Naruko appeared from above him and attempted to slash Haku again with her sword. But Haku dodged the attack again by merging with an ice mirror. When Haku merged with the ice mirrors again, Naruko quickly looked at Sasuke and smiled. It looks like you can finally say, I'm a Uchiha. Yeah, now I can keep up with his moves, and thanks for watching my back, said Sasuke. After Sasuke said this, Haku appeared in the ice mirror in front of them. He looked at Sasuke and Naruko and said, it looks like I underestimated you two a lot. After going back into the mirrors, he made a Mizu Bushin to distract Naruko and Haku. He then shot out of the mirrors because he wanted to use Naruko as a bait. He attacked her when she turned her back.
Sasuke looked at Naruko.
What? At Naruko? No, I have to make it, Sasuke said to himself. Haku's plan worked because he stabbed Sasuke with a dozen needles, and in the same second Naruko turned around, caught Sasuke, and then looked at the wound he got for her. She was upset with herself because she had been so careless. Sasuke said in a low voice, "Ha, it looks like we're even now." Naruko. You idiot. I would have been fine with a wound like that, so why did you do it? She asked as she held him. Sasuke said in a weak voice, I don't know. My body just moved on its own. Don't go dying too, okay? I may not have said it, but I saw you as my rival, always pushing me to go further than I thought I could. You were the only kunoichi and classmate I respected from our year. Bye Naruko. Sasuke said as he died. Haku said as he went into the mirrors, is this the first time you've lost a friend? This is the way of the shinobi. Haku then heard something that he couldn't believe, the blonde girl was laughing. Naruko said with a small smile, nice try, Haku-san, but I know medical techniques too. I know you did the same thing to Zabuza. You seem too nice to kill, I can tell. You know. Naruko had a clone take Sasuke to Sakura and Tazuna and said, thank you. Now we can fight for real. She heard the Pinkette scream, and then her clone told her that Beloved was fine. Naruko was surrounded by red chakra that swirled around her. As it did, her whisker marks got darker and more defined, her hair got a bit longer and shaggier, her canines and nails grew, and her eyes turned red with black slits in them. She let out a tailed beast's sonic roar to break the mirrors, and then she ran at Haku. Haku was shocked by his opponent's new look and strength. He saw her coming and tried to get out of the way, but she was too fast, and the punch she threw broke his mask and sent him flying a few feet. The force was so strong that it broke the floor of the bridge. Wait, what? What is this chakra? Haku was shocked, he said. Outside the mirrors made of ice. Both Kakashi and Zabuza were shocked by how powerful it was and how clear it was that it was meant to kill. Kakashi knew what it was. Even Zabuza was afraid. At first, he thought it was Kakashi, but it turned out to be something strong. More powerful than him. Kakashi knew why she let the fox's power go, and he was worried about it. Kakashi threw a scroll into the air. He put his finger on a cut on his chest, quickly opened the scroll, and smeared blood on it. Kakashi came up with the idea of a last move. It was a last-ditch effort. He knew what he needed to do, though. Behind the glass. Zabuza-sama, I can't beat this girl. Please forgive me. Haku smiled. Zabuza-sama doesn't need a weak shinobi, he said simply. You've taken away my reason for being. Why? For someone like him, I want to know why, Naruko asked, still in her initial state. Haku smiled and said, long ago, I had people who were very important to me. My parents. Haku said, I was born in a small snowy village in the country of the mist. I was happy, and my parents were nice, but when I got older and started to learn how the world worked, something happened. Naruko asked, something? What? This blood. Haku said. Blood? Your Kekai Genkai. Naruko asked. Haku just said, my father killed my mother, and then he tried to kill me. Either you killed him and ran away or you just ran away, and then Zabuza found you, didn't he? Naruko asked, realizing what had happened. Haku gave her a nod because she figured it out so quickly. Zabuza-sama took me in even though he knew I had blood that everyone hated, because he wanted it. Haku started crying. I felt so good. Naruko-san. Please. Haku said. Kill me. He said. Somewhere else. Kakashi had made a few hand signs and slammed his hands down on the ground. He used a summoning jutsu. But nothing appeared. It doesn't matter what you do, you can't figure out where I am, but I know exactly where you were, Kakashi. My jutsu has you trapped. After that, Zabuza heard something. The ground started to move. The ground under Zabuza broke. Zabuza yelled, Gaw. In pain and shock. A dog jumped up out of the ground. Another. Then one more. Zabuza was attacked by 8 dogs, which pinned him down. Sakura asked, what's that noise? Use your nose if your eyes and ears don't work, Kakashi said. That's what happens when you close your eyes in the mist. This summoning is designed to find an opponent, which is why I let my blood spill twice. Your weapons smell like my blood. These are my cute ninja dogs. Their sense of smell is better than any other dog's. You are trapped in my jutsu. Kakashi said, the mist has cleared. Your future is death. Zabuza said, my future is death? I'm sick of your nonsense. Don't be stupid, you can't do anything in this situation, and you're going to die, Kakashi said as he walked casually toward Zabuza. Zabuza. You went too far. Kakashi said. Then, with a few hand signals, he made his one original move. Raikiri. Kakashi yelled as he did the move. Zabuza was shocked. You are too dangerous. Tazuna-san, who you are trying to kill, is this country's courage, and the bridge he wants to build is this country's hope. Your ambition sacrifices many people. That is not what a shinobi should do. But you went and threatened to take my student, that is where I draw the line. Kakashi said as he tried to control his anger. Zabuza gave Kakashi a dirty look and said, I don't give a damn. I fight for my own ideals, and that will continue. I'll ask once more. Surrender. Kakashi said.
Together with Haku and Naruko.
When Naruko looked at his eyes, she noticed how similar they were to hers. Almost looking at them hurt. She got rid of her first state and called up her sword. Very well. If we had met under different circumstances, we might have become friends, she said. Haku closed his eyes and gave a small smile. He wished that they could have done the same. As Haku waited to die, he saw that his master was in danger. He was about to help him, but he felt his breath leave him. Naruko had hit him in the gut with her sword, which was enough to knock him out. Naruko tied him up quickly by putting a binding seal on him. She couldn't kill him because he deserved to be happy, and she would give him a chance to follow his own dream after this. Even if it made him hate her. With Kakashi and Zabuza. After Zabuza refused to give up, Kakashi was about to kill him when he heard someone clapping. Naruko walked over to them and stood next to her sensei. "Oh, your behind is getting kicked, how?" "Disappointing," someone said. Everyone except Sakura and Tazuna turned around to see who was speaking. Zabuza. A small man with a big army came. Zabuza was tired and asked Gato, "Why are you here? And what's with all these men?" Gato said, "Hey, the man has changed." "Well, I've been planning to do this from the start." Zabuza, "I'm going to have you killed here." Zabuza said, "What?" When he heard about this double cross. "I didn't plan to pay you anything. Hiring normal ninja from the village is expensive and they might betray me, so I get you missing nins who are so easy to take care of afterward. I have ninjas fight each other, and when they're weak, I kill them with numbers. It doesn't cost me anything. Good financial plan, don't you think? The only problem with the plan was you, Zabuza, the demon of the..." Zabuza gave the man a mean look. The army of bandits yelled and roared, "We can kill you easily now." They were excited. Zabuza said, "Kakashi, Uzumaki, I'm sorry, but this fight is over. Now that I don't have to go after Tazuna, I don't have to fight you. Do you need help?" "I was going to talk to Haku after I knocked him out, but this kind of changes things," Naruko asked. Zabuza's arms were useless now that Kakashi had freed him from his ninja dogs. "Uzumaki, I have something to tell you. If you keep going the way you are, you could be the best Kenjutsu user ever. Also, if I die here, I want you to carry my legacy with my sword. I don't want some scavenger taking it. Lastly, I'm giving Haku to you because I think she deserves a dream and I think you can give it to her." "Wait, he's a girl? Damn, I knew no boy could be that pretty," Naruko said with relief. "Yeah, I did that so no one would try to mess with her." I think we have to deal with an army in front of us," Kakashi said with a sweat drop. "Alright, brat, give me a kunai, the midget is mine." He caught the kunai that Naruko threw at him in his mouth. He showed a cruel smile and charged with the kunai. In the process, he killed some of Gato's men. He ran after Gato, who was trying to escape. He pierced his neck with a move of the neck, but then 3 more men came and stabbed him in the back. The men yelled, "Just die already." But Zabuza made them stop. Gato yelled, "W. What? You won't live. Gaw." As the kunai went through him. "You and I are going to hell together," said Zabuza. He moved back. To do this, he needed more speed and leverage. Zabuza said, "Even the average demon of the hidden mist can become a real demon when he dies." He charged again and cut Gato in the middle of his body. Just enough for him to bleed, but not die. Zabuza said, "This will be fun. We will have plenty of time to find out if I'm a baby demon or not." He moved his neck and Gato had his throat cut. The men then tried to attack, but Zabuza gave them an angry look. They all ran away out of fear. With Sakura. "Did I die?" someone asked themselves. He could hear people crying in his own name. Sakura. Am I? As he was waking up, Sasuke Uchiha said in a weak voice, "Sakura. You're heavy." Then Sakura's eyes started to tear up again, and she ran up to Sasuke and gave him a hug. Sakura. That hurts. Sasuke said. Sakura said, "I'm sorry." What? What about Naruko? Sasuke asked. And that masked kid? After the masked kid killed you, Naruko said he just knocked you out and went all out on him, breaking those mirrors and knocking him out as well. Sasuke frowned when he heard this. Naruko was able to beat him because he was always in the way while she was trying to protect him. Some voices yelled, Hey. Don't get too comfortable. Damn you ninjas. You killed our meal ticket. You guys are dead. To break even, we're going to flood and burn down this city." Yeah. Yelled the thieves. As they ran, they yelled, "Go." Naruko just walked in front of them and put her sword up. "You veal filth will not do such a thing." Take one step further and you will face the harshest wind you have ever seen. The men didn't care and rushed her. Hammer of the Wind King. Strike air. Then, a strong wind came up and blew the rest of the army into the sea, destroying the first few lines. That must be the best wind jutsu I've ever seen. I think Naruko could wipe out a whole army with just one hit. I don't think even Sensei could do that because he would need multiple Harishin Kunai for it. Kakashi was amazed and saw an overlay of his sensei standing next to Naruko with the same look in his eyes as Naruko as they turned around and smiled at Kakashi. Inari had gotten the people to stand up and help, but when the makeshift army saw what Naruko did, their jaws dropped and they started to cheer. Her teammates couldn't say anything and promised to never make her mad again. Tazuna thought that the goddess of victory had joined the battle and saved his country, and that Uzumaki Naruko, Konoha's saber, would be a name to remember.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.